We'll see if this stays together.
Yeah,
We're working
man.
with some new digs.
Yeah, man.
With it and
It's our studio jank.
oh Jesus. We'll see.
Yeah, man.
If it gets too crooked, then I'll just do something like that. What's up, y'all? I'm Jared.
I am Josh. How y'all doing?
I guess before we get started with anything, before we get into spoiling Star Wars for everybody and the pay-per-view tonight, we got to give. This just ain't gonna sit straight for nothing. So, anyway, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, man.
You got to give a shout out to What's Hoods
Yes, we do.
on the dang old YouTube. There's plenty of good people out there. If you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure that you've already subscribed to him, but if you're not, go do that. Here's to you.
Absolutely. Very, very cool dude, man. Covers sports in DC, covers wrestling. Just a good dude, man. Just a real cool dude, man. So,
Heck yeah,
like Jared said, most definitely check him out and see what you think, because it's worth a look.
Too sweet to you.
Absolutely, man.
So that's what's up. And man, one of the things he was talking about in one of the videos that he did recently was the what was the name of the kid? Preston something.
I forgot Austin something, I think.
Man, it was the viral video of the kid that was being bullied at school, and you know it's a tough situation. I mean, what do you do with stuff like that? Because you know, since the days that it's come out, there's been controversy about supposedly the mom had a GoFundMe account started by somebody else to get money, and there's photos of him and relatives with Confederate flags draped over him on a social media website, and I think that's more bullying that he's talking about, whether he knows it or not. So it's a tough situation, but people gave this GoFundMe account, and they were upset after the fact. But like when it goes to that GoFundMe stuff, I mean, you have to give with a good heart and the intentions that it's going to go to what they're saying it's for, regardless of who these people are. If you see somebody on the street and they need a buck, and you have one, you give it to them. It's theirs to do with what they want to do with at that point.
It's your money now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you want to go run to the liquor store
Run.
or whatever you want to do, then it's yours to do that with.
Yeah, Keaton Jones, that was his name. Keaton something.
Keaton.
Yeah, man, I missed all that stuff too. I think I'm with you on the fallout, the GoFundMe fallout, because the thing is, man, the social media stuff with the Confederate flag came out real quick. The stuff about his dad being a white supremacist came out real quick. The story about what exactly got him socked in the nose came out, and it's like, if you're going to get mad about giving money to this, do your own research first. This obviously wasn't hidden, so don't fuss about it now.
And
if you gave money to this thing and now you're mad about it, suck it up. You're the one that, and that's what frustrates me, man, because so often people that are bullied are told to suck it up. That's not the person you tell that to. The person that made this mistake and now wants their money back, well, dude, come on, man.
There's a certain amount of bullying's not the right word. Ball busting is the word that I think it's good for you. It builds character, and even a certain amount of dehumanization is to rip off a track from an old Henry Rollins spoken word CD that I used to wear out. That is good for you, and you know that's. You know, it's all in how you react to it, and what you do with it is what, you know, makes you a good person or not. So that's why there's good people like What's Hoods and his channel and this channel. They're talking about that, and you know, it's getting it out there and saying, you know, the long and short of it is you know, don't take it out on this kid, because I think he's getting bullied in more ways than one. It's not just at school. There's stuff going on, you know, that he just has no control over. So, but just, you know, to see a viral video like that and to rush out to give to a GoFundMe, like, pump the brakes next time.
Yeah, if you're going to get mad about it after the fact,
that's,
because, well, I only had half the information. Well, that's your fault. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the part that that got not ill's not the right word. Didn't make me ill. It's just
Yeah.
like, and to be totally blunt, it's very very mean to the kid. But listen, if you go in the school and start dropping that N word, and someone knocks you out for it,
You got what was coming to you.
I'm as sorry as I can be, buddy. You earned that one. You
Yeah.
earned it every time you get it because. That's just I'm tired of that mess, man. And as far as kids getting bullied these days, man, I have like no frame of reference for this at all, simply because social media is such a different.
I'm like crazy old.
It is such a different thing now for kids than when we was kids. So I don't know. That's not something I feel comfortable commenting on because it's not something I have any experience with whatsoever. I don't have any idea what kids are putting up with these days. I can only begin to imagine how hard it is with social media. I mean, you had the 10-year-old girl that hung herself because of her fight going viral.
Yeah.
That's just, that stuff makes you want to like just throw up.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like I couldn't even begin to explain how different. Totally
So,
agree.
That's that's the long short of it. I don't even know how different it is because I don't have kids in school. I don't have kids. Period. My mother teaches, but that's about as far as it goes. But the type of school she's teaching at, you're not really getting. There's bullying anywhere and everywhere, but that's these kids are like kind of like special needs kind of situation. So it's not quite the same as a public school. It's not a public school, so that helps. Where they have the means to put the kibosh on that stuff if they have to. So it's not a prison, but it's about as close as you can get and not be a prison. It's essentially a prison.
What I mean to say is, it's a prison.
Yeah, there are no bars and
That's all
there's
it's
no
missing.
jumpsuits, but these kids don't leave.
That's all it's missing.
That's I guess you can call it. I've said too much, but anyway, point is, there's a certain amount of horsing around and ball busting that's always going to be good. I'm very unsympathetic when it comes to some situations that come up at whether it's work or school, and usually not the one that everybody goes to get that sympathetic shoulder. I mean, he's like, well, he had it coming. So that's kind of the feeling I got when I saw the kids. Like, well, there's some of that that's good for you, but I don't think going and making a viral video and that's talk about further bullying. That's not going to help your cause, and hopefully in the long run it will for him. But I don't. That remains to be seen. Right now, it doesn't seem like it did. But the other big news that. Trying to think of some of the news that's come out since the last time we talked because I really felt dumb. I'm glad that I didn't sit down and talk last Sunday because I was looking at some of the photos that were coming out from the WWE Dubai trip, and I was like, man, why is Sasha Banks wearing MVP's old gear? It turns out they're in Dubai and ladies can't. Not only was it the first wrestling match for women, they can't wear what they wear over here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's it. And then you see Alexia, like, man, she picked some ugly ring gear. Like, oh, that's what's going on.
Yeah, man.
So I'm just willing to admit, I was that dumb to be like, it took me several minutes to realize, oh, this is what's happening. They just didn't. Did you leave your stuff at home? Is it that cold over there? I mean, why?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, never mind. So had that going on for us, and I'm sure most everybody's gone out and watched Star Wars by now. So I'm trying to talk about that without, spoiling too much. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, you don't want to hear about Jar Jar Binks coming back and saving the day, then fast forward.
This is not the video for you.
Oh darn. So, man, that is just. I knew sitting there in the theater watching this movie that it was going to get a bunch of hate just because it has kind of one of those, to me, Return of the King style endings where it's already the longest Star Wars movie that's ever been released going in. Know that. But on top of that, you really feel it at the end of this movie, and you're like, man, I'm not supposed to be sitting in the theater watching this the first time wondering, when's this going to be over? when's this going to be over? And I couldn't help but think that as good as it was, as much as I liked it, I was just watching all these false finishes. I was like, man, when is this going to wrap up? What are they building to build for the third one? This is just the second one, right? Because it felt kind of like they were doing a little bit of a Return of the Jedi plus combo, what Empire and Return of the Jedi all in one. Like, man, how's this going to end? You know, we've just got taken down. We've tried to lift back up, notice down again, and that's the feeling I went away with from it, and it's one of those. It's just like Force Awakens, which I rewatched the other day, getting ready for it. It's one of those that having a two years now gap between movies. It's like it's a lot different review than it got the first go around, but that's not to make it bad. I don't even make it sound like it's not good. It's just, you know, it's going to take some time and perspective to think about what happened in this one, as to decide as to, you know, what could have been done to make it better, what I didn't like about it, what I liked about it, or anything like that. But there were a few glaring things in it we thought, was that necessary? Did we have to see that? I know Luke's old Jedi and crazy now, but some of the stuff that he does, you kind of, that's just plain gross. I mean, why? Why would you do that? And I wish I could say more. It was just, yeah. And, you know, I just think it's really hard to watch because they had a very good opportunity to kill off Princess Leia. And I'll tell you that they chose not to do it. And they chose not to do it because if you kill her off, then you don't get to have the scene with Luke at the end. And it's just really hard to watch that conversation on screen and not have a mental breakdown like I almost did with some of the lines that are getting said back and forth when you have Luke Skywalker sitting down to talk with Leia, and you know she's giving her a trinket from the Falcon that Han left, and he's telling her, like, you know, nobody is ever really gone, when you know that Carrie Fisher's gone. They've proven that these characters can live forever in the movies, whether we like it or not. But it just makes it hard to watch, knowing that she, in fact, is not here anymore, and you know they're having this conversation about, you know, who's not going to be around anymore. So it was kind of hard to watch. I'm not going to lie. It was one of those kind of moments. But other than that, I mean, I really dug everything that they did. There's a weird dynamic with Rey and Kylo that's kind of weird, and their little meeting up on Snoke's. He hangs out on, what was that Marilyn Monroe? There's a Marilyn Monroe movie that got ripped off when I first was sitting there watching the movie, like, he's hanging out on the old Madonna Material Girl video, but then it's like, no, she ripped off the Marilyn Monroe Diamonds Are Forever, or that's James Bond. The Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend set with all the red. You kind of like, that's Snoke's throne room in this movie, and you're kind of like, man, this looks weird on screen. All that red, it's trippy, but I like it. So, what the heck was I talking about? This Rey and Kylo are going to be a weird dynamic. I still think that it's going to make more sense for them to be brother and sister, and it plays right into the whole Star Wars thing of brothers and sisters having this weird kind of sexual chemistry that you like, y'all realize that's gross, right? So you had that going on, but don't believe everything you hear about the movie. Go check it out, and I think you'll really dig it. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
What I'm trying to tell you.
What I'm trying to say.
What I'm trying to get to you.
Yeah. And so definitely worth going. It's worth the ride to the movie theater and ticket admission to go check out. Because that's this doesn't mean a whole lot. Coming from a Star Wars nerd, is gonna like it anyway.
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm gonna go see it tomorrow, but there is no need for me to review anything Star Wars at all because I'm not objective about it.
Yeah.
It's like, there's just certain things that I know better than to give my opinion on because it's like, it's just going to be sunshine and roses, so that's not going to help anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's...
I think a review needs to be more than, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. It's like, yeah, I saw it. It was yeah, man. No, I'm going to break the thing down. That's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can nitpick, and I saw people are ranking where they put it in. With every Star Wars movie, there's, well, where does it fit in the order? It's like, who cares? All the prequels are at the bottom. The original trilogy's the original trilogy, and let this thing be its own thing. And Rogue One and the Han Solo movie, you can kind of put in there wherever you want to when all that stuff's done. But I like some of the things that they kind of retconned about from the prequels, and even from The Force Awakens. Snoke has a pretty good take on Rey, and like not trusting Kylo. Like, well, you remember getting bested by her. She never touched a lightsaber, right? So lines like that are kind of funny, and that's not the exact line. So I mean, that's the gist of it, and I dug it. The porgs weren't terrible. Everybody was freaking out about those, and they were actually likable and decent. But the thing about the Force I was talking about is they really kind of took from the prequels and midichlorians and all that stuff. They kind of like said, forget all that crap. Is essentially what got said, and they were like, yes, the Force is accessible to anything and everything that exists, and so that's finally good. We can move on from that bullcrap. So that's about the best non-spoiler review I can give. So go check it out.
Yeah,
see what you think.
Yeah, I can dig it.
So we had a pay-per-view tonight.
Yeah, we did.
Unfortunately, so I don't think these are getting to Star Wars level unobjectability for me yet, but it's getting close. Where I can try to find something to like in most all of them. But that's pretty much the deal with I was texting Josh earlier about like, come watch this. We can. I mean, it feels stupid to pay for the network and not at least watch it.
Yeah, man.
Check it out.
It was tricky, man. This was a tricky show to find that thing that you liked about it. It was there, but it was just maybe a little bit tricky. I'm sorry, I had to pull the list up because I don't remember what I was on there. Okay.
Rusev Day was
I love those guys.
Highlight.
Yeah, they're just too much fun, and how much the crowd was into them. Which don't get me wrong, I know they're over. I know people like them, and that's really cool. But to just see how much that crowd liked them was freaking cool, man. That was
different level.
Yeah, that was stuff. Very, very neat, man. The match was okay. It was Usos and New Day and Rusev Day, and I'm gonna rip off Wrestle Talk because I thought American Beta was very funny. So, that was pretty awesome. But yeah, it was cool. I'm all right with Jimmy and Jay winning. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It was totally cool, man. I would love for Rusev Day to get more of a push. I think that'd be a lot of fun, but that didn't have to happen today. It doesn't. Yeah. It's not one of those things where if it doesn't happen today, they're never going to do it. So it's totally okay for that one's totally fine, man. We started off with Corbin and Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, and it is what it is. Like we discussed during the show, it was nice to get Corbin out because then you kind of got that mini singles match, and then it went away real quick, and then you got back to it. Yeah, because the singles match with Roode and Ziggler was actually pretty fun, and it wasn't bad. I liked the finish. I thought the finish, the last spot, was really cool because I've told Jared forever, and you guys probably, if you've watched the show for any length of time, you know that I like Dolph Ziggler a lot. I despise doing Shawn Michaels' move as his finish. I think the zigzag is way cooler. So I'm glad it looks like they're trying to bring that back into being his finish. And I'm like, well, that's cool. That's a cool thing for him to do. It really didn't matter who won. I mean, I guess it did, because everybody's always convinced every time Ziggler loses, he's leaving. So now he's U.S. champ, and maybe he'll be around for
Harder to leave that way.
Yeah, for real. Got him weighted down now.
Yeah.
But yeah, him and Bobby in a solo series would be awesome, and you can move Corbin out of there for the love of God, because that's just not a title guy. Corbin he doesn't need it. Who cares?
Yep.
It just doesn't matter. Charlotte and Natalia was the third thing. It is what it is when they get together. I mean, the lumberjack thing is stupid. The lumberjill thing, I thought that was way funnier when they called them that. But,
Yeah, I mean,
but it's I don't know. It was okay. It was just I don't know. Just nothing really stood out about it. I don't think there was one bump that I thought was really pretty cool, but I don't remember what it was now because I'm an idiot. I felt bad when for Pete's sake. Naomi jumped on everybody because half of them wound up taking the bump with their neck up on the rail, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think the three of them got rolled up on that.
it seems like every time Charlotte goes to do that somersault, moonsault out of the ring, like, does anybody ever catch her at all?
Yeah, it's like they move away, man. Yeah, like, dang, man.
I'll just land on my feet. It's okay.
It's going to be fine. Don't worry. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, every time, like, man,
Stop doing
I'm
that,
glad
please.
she ain't hurt yet. Take that one out of the repertoire, man.
Yeah.
I'm getting nervous. Bludgeon Brothers and Breezango, bump of the night to happen in that one, no doubt. That was awful.
Tyler Breeze on the side of the daggum aprons. Like,
Yeah.
why was that necessary?
That was the awful part. The match wasn't bad. I was hoping they would let Breezango get a little bit. It sounds stupid because I want my comedy in there, but I don't know, just like funny, flourishy offense to where you get yourself all fired up and think you're going to get something, and then you get murdered. Just like that. It was cool. I was hoping for that, but it didn't really matter. It was okay. The match was okay.
That was another thing that got a suggestion that came from some guys that I thought was a really good one. Is
Wrestle Talk again.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
have Breezango do the thing that you do with the Bludgeon Brothers, because they're the Bludgeon Brothers. They're going to kill everybody, but have the Ascension come out and at least rough them up a little bit at the end. I thought that would have been a good idea.
Yeah, the notion of like booking the Bludgeons and the Ascension and like this revenge for our fallen friends match, that is an awesome idea, because I would love to see those two teams go at it. That was cool. I never
may very well be the plan next, but I thought, why wait? Why not?
It'd be great.
Yeah, do that tonight.
Get them moving. That'd be cool, man. Nakamura and Orton against Zayn and Owens. I don't remember anything about this match. Nothing. Basically,
we did have an issue with the network, and like right at the finish, it like went out.
The biggest problem that I have is that if Shane McMahon is on the screen, people say this a lot about Ziggler. People say this a lot about Bray Wyatt. Well, when Bray Wyatt starts talking, I just zone out. If Shane McMahon is involved, I just think about other things.
No,
I despise that guy. I have always despised that guy. I don't know why he gets cheered for falling off tall things. And I just can't believe that he is now the star of SmackDown. That is just pathetic to me, man. So he comes out doing the Shane McMahon thing, and of course getting involved. And why are you counting, Daniel? I'm counting. I'm the referee. And it's like, this is the match. Is them squabbling. This whole thing is to set up their match at WrestleMania. You've got to be kidding me. On that roster, you have one guy that's in the main event. You have a guy named Nakamura and a guy named Owens and a guy named Zayn. They are better than anybody else you could possibly have out there. And the fact that AJ Styles and Kevin Owens have been married to Shane McMahon for the last year to get him over, I'm just tired of it. I'm really, really done. And now you got Sami Zayn involved too. It's like, y'all, this is so old.
Pretty terrible. So is that the deal? Is Daniel Bryan going to be fired now?
I don't know. I think
really
we talked about it. I think the whole thing is going to, the whole story they're trying to do is, because we've said this for a long time now with well, I'll just leave. I'll go to Ring of Honor. Well, but I'll go to New Japan. That's what I'll do. Because I'm a wrestler, and I'm going to be a wrestler. That whole, dude, you've been cleared to wrestle for 2 years. It's just they decided to turn it into a storyline, and I think it's going to be, well, you screwed me, Shane. You had me be the GM. You were keeping me out of that ring because you don't want me to be champion. And then officially we'll make Shane the new Mr. McMahon, and he gets to be a villain character, and he gets to be on TV every week, and for the love of God.
Yeah.
But it's just weak and sad and awful. And I don't know. It might be fun to have Danielson back. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen him work, man. I loved his old crap. I didn't see any of his stuff in WWE. I just wasn't watching at the time. But I don't know. I know a lot of people want him to come back, and that's cool. I think that we talked about this. This will transition into some other stuff that we've been talking about, man. I think that people are strange on the stuff that they believe and the stuff that they think is real from social media and interviews and shoot interviews and stuff like that. You can call it a shoot interview and still be on the payroll.
Yeah.
So all of the talk about, well, I'll just leave, I'll go over here. Man, Bryan Danielson doesn't give a crap. He'll say whatever he wants to, as he can go anytime he wants to. Not as long as he's on that television show with his wife. Mm-hmm. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere, because if he leaves WWE, do you think they're going to pick that show back up? He's not going to be on it, and that's the point. It's like, man, as long as that TV show is going, he's going to be around. Mm-hmm. So it's just a cool story, and you just talk that mess, and especially if that's your payoff with, like, Shane McMahon's been finagling the doctors and getting them to tell you half-truths and keeping you out of the ring, by golly, well, that's a way to get out of it. I'm not saying it's good, but it's like Game of Thrones last year. There's a reason I was sitting in the room saying, okay, this is what they're going to do with Arya and Sansa, and then this is what's going to happen, and then she's going to say this, and they're going to do this. It's not that it was good. My idea was awful.
Yeah.
It's just that you had written such a terrible storyline. You'd written such a terrible storyline, you had to get yourself out of it. And that was the only way to get yourself out of it. It was, oh, no, guys, it's been BS this whole time, switcheroo. I think it stinks. You definitely could have got a better payoff with the Littlefinger character, but not with what you wrote leading up to it. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing here. I think it's a stupid story, but for what you've set up now, that's probably the best way to get out of it.
Yeah.
So that stuff is dumb. Anyway, we'll finish this up, and then we'll go back to, we were talking about like crossover things that people believe that maybe we don't, and put those guys out there, because that stuff is fun. But I do think it's weird that people take Bryan Danielson, just everything he says is like, no, man, he's just having fun, y'all. Anyway, the last thing on it was Jinder and AJ. And I'll do my review very, very quickly. It's like I told the man. I'm very happy that AJ retained. I'll be much happier when I know for certain that we're not backsliding on this and that we are done with Jinder Mahal. But I have now officially, for the first time in following AJ Styles, seen a match of his that I just did not get into. I love the bookend. I mean, he's a smart guy. Mm-hmm. And I love the bookend of, you have the taller guy, you kick him in the leg, you work the leg, and then you get beat up and beat up and beat up and beat up and beat up. And then when you make the rally, you win with the submission. That's awesome. Just that logic of working the leg, kicking the knee, and then calf crusher is how you win. That's totally awesome. It is also the only thing I remember, except that he did actually hit the 450. Yeah. As it's become such a thing now where every time he goes for it, people get the knees up, and it's like, oh, cool, he hit it this time.
It's just, it was...
Which is ingenious. I'm sorry, I want to interject real quick. Which is super ingenious in a match where, his work part was the rib. So you finally hit the 450, but you have your ribs worked all night. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh man, you can't get over and capitalize and make the cover. So that's like super smart to let him hit it in that scenario. Awesome. It's just picking on Game of Thrones for their horrible story writing. Let me give some love to someone that built it and did it right. That was super cool.
It's just what we've been talking about. We just didn't expect him to retain, so now it's just kind of, hopefully it'll build to something cool. Yeah, we're both pretty much like, man, as long as it's real, it's great. Just don't do this, oh, well, Jinder Mahal gets a special challenge on Tuesday night SmackDown Live. It's like, no, and I have no reason to think they'll do that, and I hope they don't, but I just hope they don't. Yeah. That's the thing, man. But yeah, our crossover jump. We were talking about just people taking tweets very seriously and people taking weird things seriously. Mm-hmm. And the big one for us right now, we've talked about it a couple of times, man, is if you're still on the Twitter wars of Chris Jericho, he's been going back and forth with Tetsuya Naito. And so the latest thing that I've seen on that is, and I get where the guy's coming from, but I don't know. It's all like, okay, Chris, we get it. You're going to be around for a while, and you're going to go in and do a program with Naito. Now, I might be totally wrong, but that just sounds very sour grapey to me. Yeah. It sounds like I read the Omega tweets, and I was like, well, this is just, just crap talk. And then they booked the match, and now you want to change that. Because a lot of people are huffy about that. I don't know why. I don't know why it's so shocking, but a lot of people are, including you, Taz. You're lovely, but... You listen to his take on that, and man, he gets upset real wide. I'm not saying I knew it was coming, but I'm saying I knew it was coming. And then he goes on 2 minutes later and is all gripey and fussy. But you gotta be careful yanking people around like this, because you can't be doing this like real life shoot stuff on the Twitter.
It's like, why are you
Okay.
mad? Why are you mad about it if you didn't fall for it? Oh, it's because you did fall for it, and you're trying to revise it. I got you. And I hear you now.
Well,
I hear you now. But yeah, dude. Because, and I guess my other thing is, how can you be ill at them for doing the Twitter fight, and you got to be careful because you can't book that too many times, but you're totally okay with your boy Bubba Ray doing the, well, man, the concussions are knocking me out of the business, but I'm going to have 4 more matches.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was cool. That whole thing worked out
gave
great.
the little kid a piece of wood.
That whole thing is great, but it's like, I don't know, man. If
Can't have it both ways.
If we're on the subject of things that are touchy and things you might not should book, it's like, well, okay. Because I think the idea of people going to social media and starting all this back and forth stuff, that's genius. That's making money, man. That's
Use
just
it
what
to your advantage.
it's just what you do. It's the same thing with the UFC guys today that got, oh my God, like the UFC guys have been tweeting stuff from the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and I wish the kids wouldn't get so upset about it, because
It's nothing to get that butt hurt about.
well, it's nothing to get upset about, period. Because the question you must ask yourself is this: if this UFC guy hates this stuff so much, how did he see it in the first place? It's just somebody putting a tweet out there to get the legions of Bullet Club fans to react to, man. It's totally okay. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's just people going back and forth. But there are people that think hashtag FTR is a real thing. There are people that thought Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega was Chris Jericho legitimately talking crap about New Japan and the Indies. People took that stuff, they take all of it so seriously, and I don't get that. And that brings me back to Naito. If we're going to get Jericho Naito, that's awesome. But I think we could just as easily see something like we're talking about, where you get this crazy swerve ending and Omega loses, and then Chris goes wherever he wants to, most notably back to Stamford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you? Because this really is the FTR thing, man. The whole thing with Jericho and Naito, if they wind up in a program, that's awesome. But if they don't, in the meantime, you're just putting the guy over and getting the name Tetsuya Naito in front of eyeballs that maybe haven't seen it before. Yeah. And that's awesome. The same thing with FTR. That's what that whole thing was, man. No, those guys hate each other. If you say so, I don't think I believe you. I think it was just a funny little thing to get stuff, because basically if you're an independent wrestler and you're talking about WWE, that's going to help you. In that case, those are new school WWE guys, and now you got it going both directions, and it's awesome. And both those tag teams rule, and I would love, we've talked about like our one-day contract, like dream stuff. I would absolutely love if they could postpone the return of the Revival into a situation where they get to just jump and murder the Young Bucks. And I love the Bucks, but that would just be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Way cool.
Oh, man, I totally agree. And it's like,
Helitate.
I think it's helitate. Yeah, man, but I just love stuff like that. And as far as like whether or not it happens, who gives a darn? It's just fun to pretend.
Yeah.
It's just fun to play around. But now the thing about the Jericho Naito tweet, and the reason I'm sitting here and saying it could be exactly this, or it might be that. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that whatever Chris Jericho does, that's what Chris Jericho do. And I'm not putting anything past him. I'm not putting his ability to get anything past me. I'm not putting that down. Hey, whatever. He's going to do what he's going to do. And it's awesome. I think it's great. One way or the other, man. You're either promoting somebody or you're promoting your own program with the guy. Or you're not doing anything with it and just having fun with all of us. That's cool too.
It's working, you marks.
It's fine. It's totally cool, man.
Yeah.
I do love that idea. I still like the idea of the supervillains and I said Hung Bucks. It almost has to be the Hung Bucks though, man. Just because Big E and Hangman would be fun. That'd be kind of cool. Anyhow, that's different. So now I'm back on the fantasy one-day booking stuff, and that's a wormhole, man.
Yeah, man. It's like all kind of crazy, cool stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I'd like to see if they ever get around to that.
Yeah,
but Young Bucks Revival would be wonderful.
Oh, heck yeah.
Wonderful. I think everybody would get into that.
Yep. Book that for the cruise.
Yeah. Oh man, I've got like the stuff from Final Battle. We were talking about it. One of my favorite moments from Final Battle. His first match, it was Ospreay and Matt Taven, man. This was so cool, man. Matt Taven is in the ring, man. He winds up getting Ospreay in a genuine face sitter lion tamer. The real deal, man. Straight up and down, got the knee in the back. I mean, it's awesome. It's like the straight up Chris Jericho. Very, very cool stuff. And Taven then goes over to the camera, and I hope I get the quote right. It's close enough anyway, but he looks right at the camera like, I better be booked on that cruise, and then he goes back to his match. But it's him like, petitioning Jericho to get booked. That was totally awesome, man. I'll give that rundown real quick. It won't take me long, man. Taven and Ospreay, and Taven got that win, which makes sense. It's Will doing the favor. It's all good. And it was cool. It was enjoyable. I was telling Jared, I am not a huge Flip Gordon guy, and one of my fears has always been Flip Gordon and Will Ospreay on the same card, simply because there are guys that do similar things. There are guys inspired by the same people. Then there are guys that literally do another guy's act. I ain't trying to bury Flip, but the first time I saw him, I'm like, he's doing Ospreay's act.
Yeah.
And if you put him on the same card, I think that shows up.
Really shows.
I think it shows up, and I'm like, I mean, at least Flip was in a 6-man, so that helped. But Ospreay and Taven was really good. I liked it. I thought it was cool. War Machine fought the Addiction. War Machine is kind of like me reviewing a Star Wars movie. I just like those dudes so much. I've enjoyed everything I've ever seen them do, and it's like, man, I don't even know if these guys are that good. I just know that I like them that much. So
that's all I need to know.
It was cool. Yeah, it was totally cool. And the Addiction, man, I mean, Kazarian and Daniels are just such awesome pros. No matter what they do, it's fun, it's enjoyable, and those guys are good and nuts too. They're like, I think Mark Briscoe might have outnutted all of them as far as like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. It's okay, but this is the spot we're going for. Yeah, I got that one, no problem. Mm-hmm. But Kazarian and Daniels have a history of that as well, so it was cool, man. Third match was Jay Lethal and Marty Scurll. It was my favorite match of the night. Second pay-per-view in a row that Marty's had my favorite match. That might not be true, actually, because Young Bucks and Motor City Machine Guns was awful good on the other one. But Lethal and Scurll was cool. Motor City Machine Guns' Best Friends was cool. It was hilarious because the Best Friends were kind of like Rusev Day, where it's just the crowd was just so ridiculously into them that it was fun, man. It was pretty awesome. And their like pre-match promo is the greatest thing of all time. That was pretty funny because it's basically just them doing outtakes and getting fired up, and it's just the stupidest thing ever. And it basically culminates with, Beretta. Yeah, I think we got it. We're good. They just leave. It was so dumb, but I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Silas Young won the TV title, which is awesome. I was telling Jared I was excited about that because Punishment Martinez, Kenny King, and Shane Taylor are the other dudes in that. And I'm hoping for a Kenny King and Silas Young solo thing just because I like both those dudes. But I love the idea of wrestling's last real man now billing himself as television's last real man, and then if he wins the world title, he's the world's last real man. I just like the idea of Silas Young adapting this nickname as he moves up the card. That guy Silas is awesome. Silas Young is basically, think about the WWE roster and how different the Bayley character is for what passes as a babyface. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now imagine that it's as over as it was at NXT. That's Silas Young, because Silas Young is a very different style worker and a very different style promo for indie flippy floppy wrestling that people think it is. He's just like the AWA in 1973 come to life. Cool. And he's got some crazy athletic stuff he does, but he just cuts the old promos about beating people up because they're stupid, and I'm a man. That's what being a man's all about, is punching people you don't like in the face and then taking their money. He's awesome. He's just so old school. It's like, this is great. And over like a son of a gun, everybody really digs it.
I don't need a YouTube show to put me over.
That was the best. Oh my God. He put his 6-man tag team together. It's him and the Beer City Bruiser and Minoru Suzuki. And he's talking about trying to get the Young Bucks out to accept the challenge. If you can take a break from doing your YouTube show, constantly putting yourselves over, come on out here. It was awesome, man. There are a couple of Young Bucks jokes that I really enjoyed. That one's good. And then Kenny King on the promotion for he's just digging through the little duffel bag of all the stuff. He's like, man, Young Bucks tank top, they got enough of your money. And he just keeps going. Yeah. I like that stuff. Then you had Briscoes and Bully and Dreamer, and the review I listened to for this was interesting because the guy was like, I really didn't have any expectation for this, and I really enjoyed it. I liked it, and I do that all the time too. I like matches that you go into not expecting anything, and they just blow you away. This is why I wanted to watch this pay-per-view, because I'm a Briscoes fanatic. Bully Ray's last match, back in ECW territory, and I know it's not the arena, but it's the Hammerstein. It's, it counts.
Yeah.
It totally counts. It actually is better simply because the Hammerstein's where they did the pay-per-views and stuff like that. It's actually a real building where the 2300 is the new ECW arena, and it's cool. They do shows there all the time, but they do TV there. The Hammerstein is very nice. And I did go into it with huge expectations and loved it every bit as much as dude. So it was awesome. That match was really, really cool. And again, Mark Briscoe takes about 3 bumps. I was just like, that's insane. I thought the lightsaber spot was funny. It didn't bother me. Mainly, like I was telling Jared, man, we had to hear all last year about John Cena versus The Undertaker. And Cena retiring The Undertaker and all that stuff. I'm not a Cena guy. I never have been. I never, ever, ever, ever will be. But I love The Undertaker. And if you had that kind of a career and you want to call your last shot on the way out the door, you can do whatever the heck you want to. And that was kind of my thing with this match. It's like, yeah, man, just have a hardcore match and do ECW style. And there were just a couple of things that, like the lightsaber spot, got a little jeery for some people, man. But it's like, if you want a comedy spot, it's Bubba Ray's dance. He can do whatever he wants to. But they got a cheese grater involved. Tommy Dreamer came in with the kitchen sink, which is very funny to like old school ECW reference. It was cool. There was like a kendo stick pump handle slam that Tommy Dreamer did to Mark that was really just awful looking. Yeah, it looked really like, oh my God, it like it hurt.
Slam somebody and cane him at the same time.
Well, he just kind of ran it up to the side to where whenever you slam him down, he basically takes his own arm and smashes himself in the face. It was weird, man, because you like have the pole.
You do it to yourself.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. But there were a couple of really nice things, including, good God Almighty, there was a chair shot between Jay Briscoe and Bubba Ray Dudley that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, because I mean it took the air out of the building. I mean it scared people like it scared me.
It's like
it was awesome.
Tyler Breeze tonight. So.
Yeah, it was like that. It was like that in the sense that, all right, Tyler, here you go, eat it, and boom, okay. This was, all right, Jay Briscoe, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
I want you to swing this chair as hard as you possibly can. Don't worry, I won't be there, but swing it like I'm not here. I want it to look like you're killing me. Because Bubba had his chair and he was all disoriented, and Jay comes around and I mean full on swacka crazy. Jay Lethal had a spot like that too with Marty, just a real good trust spot where it's like, don't be there, and Marty's like, don't worry, I won't be. But he took an umbrella, and I mean, it's like, when you work and you go to the guy. When you go through the guy, it's like you cannot be there.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. Jay Briscoe, I mean, full on Mickey mantled that freaking chair, and I don't know how he did it, other than that he's a genius, magician, veteran wrestler. Bubba let go of that thing at the exact right time to literally hit it like a baseball, flies out of the ring, has this crazy car crash sound, and then sells it like it killed him. It was it looked so good. I mean, it looked just devastating as crap, but it was just that perfect timing. This is when you let go. This will go fly right by you. Nothing hits anybody, and I'm totally okay. But you guys think I'm dead, don't you? And I'm like, yes, I did. Yeah. I did think you were dead. It was awesome. Yeah. That was incredible. And something I was telling the man where the finish was to 3D Bubba through the table. And it got messed up because it got too close to the legs because, Bubba and Devon have talked about, I've heard in shoots before about how impossibly difficult that move is to do. And it's like, man, we make it look good, but it's not easy. And when you watch other people try to do it, they're not kidding. It's like, dang, that is hard to do.
Real easy to mess up.
Yeah, man, it's the hit like the leg and it doesn't break the table. And, the most junior member of the entire match, Mark Briscoe, is on his feet immediately, positioning Bubba on the table, hits the turnbuckle, froggy bow, 1, 2, 3. No sweat. Ain't no problem. It was great. That match was awesome. I loved it. And if it is Bully's last match, he got him a good one. Cool. Loved it.
Sounds good.
Hung Bucks fought Flip Gordon and Titan, he's Luchador. Titan and Dragon Lee. And that was cool because anytime they bring guys from CMLL in, I like it because I don't see those guys. Like being introduced to new stuff, no problem. And it was cool against the Hung Bucks, so of course I enjoyed it. The finish is that absolutely insane. I think I always forget the name of that move. Rites of Passage, I think, something like that. And then the Indie Taker, where the Bucks come off each corner and Hangman Page has both guys. It's an insane move. And on the subject of insane moves, Adam Page did that crazy thing that he does where he takes the one guy up like in the Samoan drop, and then basically just drops them on the mat. And as he's dropping them, he goes into the air and drop kicks the dude off the chest, kicks off their chest, and moonsaults onto the dude he just threw on the ground. It's
crazy.
It's like, how does anyone even think, like, you know what I'm going to try and do this time? And then not die after they tried it that first time. So good on you for being alive, Hangman.
Yeah.
And then Dalton Castle and Cody Rhodes closed the show down. Cody Ruckerhauer, American Dream.
Yeah.
Blonde hair because I'm doing some bleeding. Cody.
Yeah.
It was cool. It seemed quick. That match seemed really quick to me, but it was good and I liked it. And Brandy Rhodes got to do a huge spot off the turnbuckle where she dove on top of the boys, and then they all three got thrown out. And it was cool. And Cody did do the gusher, which was we were discussing that, like with the blonde hair, with the tradition in pro wrestling that, you know, it's where George got the idea, and it's definitely where of what Buddy would do. It's like, you know, you're performing for live people. You got folks in the top. If you've got a cut on your head, they'll probably see it. But my God, if your white hair is now pink, they'll definitely see that. Yeah. And it's just cool. That's such a neat old school thing to do. And especially it's Bully's match, you know Bully's going to get some juice. So he did. So, okay, we'll differentiate, man. So, okay, you have the blood and I'll have the heel blood, and it was cool. Yeah. It was a good show. I liked it, man. It wasn't great, but that was okay. Because I guess the reason I say that is that the last, like, final battle was this one, and I think it was Death Before Dishonor was the one before that. That was a great pay-per-view. That son of a gun was smoking from whistle to gun. And the one last night was real cool too, man. I think it's kind of a weird thing to say, but you and I've talked about it before, where I know I'm guilty of this. I'll get locked into that one thing I want to see, and I don't do other things justice. And I wanted to see the Briscoes and Bully and Tommy so bad that I'm like, I need to go back and watch this again. I also need to watch it with the sound off, because I'm big on shows without sound. I think that the guy I listened to do a review was talking about the 4-way and how it's just way too long and the crowd just wasn't into it. And I didn't notice it being too long, but just turn the sound off and listen to music instead. Yeah. It's all good.
It can help and hurt matches a lot too. It just depends on the situation.
Yeah, it's always good. Yeah. It's always good, especially one that people lose their mind. Like my biggest examples that I use all the time, the big two, are CM Punk and John Cena, and Rock and Hogan. Because if you watch them with the sound turned off, they are nothing special. Nothing special. Rock Hogan, I understand. That's a special thing because it's nostalgia and people lose their minds. But that's the knock that I normally hear about Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura. And I've watched that one without sound, and I'm telling you, it ain't true. That sucker, it's good. It's just plain good.
Yeah, man. So, man, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Another cool thing to think about, I try not to make this just the show where I come like, you don't listen to this podcast, listen to that podcast, and then you don't listen to this podcast, listen to that podcast. And yeah, it's pretty cool, man. But a podcast I got turned on to that I probably never would have listened to, I'm sure a lot of people did this week, when Lillian Garcia interviewed Paige. If you're interested in that at all, go check it out. And I think a lot of people will be surprised when they hear, kind of the full story, and it's not the train wreck that they thought it was. And, I don't think she's going to be the Amy Winehouse that people were afraid that she was going to turn into, at least for now. So,
good,
it was a good one to go track down and listen to. I think Finding Glory or whatever the podcast is called, but search Lillian Garcia and you'll
find it.
That's what'll come up. So that's my one to leave you with.
Yeah, my suggested pod will be Bill Simmons' top 20 NBA players right now. I think this is from about 3 or 4 months ago, and I was listening to it last night. It's great. Yeah. It's very, very cool because it's Bill Simmons and it's interesting, and it's just so neat how many times he literally says, "Man, we should do this again in like 3 months," because it's like that's when this is now. It's very, very cool, man. So that's my second to last thing, and my very last thing is one more time to piggyback on the man. What's Hood? Very, very cool of you, man. Thank you very much.
And we'll probably won't see you before, but have a good Christmas.
Christmas time is here.